60 for it, but where there are some long straights, it normally goes pretty well, like Silverstone. But don't ignore Sam, because he's pretty quick in that car and will be worth watching. John Wilcox has been racing for many, many years, a stalwart BMW enthusiast. He used to race in the BMW Car Club Challenge before going up against alternative manufacturers in what you might call classic touring car type categories, of which I suppose this falls into that general remit. And he's the man on pole position. You've got Dean Spur with his Rover 220 Turbo Coupe there, still carrying the good old Rover Sport livery from when those cars had their own one-make championship in the mid-1990s. The 220 took over from the 216 that had taken over from the Turbo Metro, and although they didn't really give hugely exciting racing, they were always well promoted, the Rover Turbo days. And Dean Spur in one of those cars, then making his way now towards McLaren with Ian Clark's Cologne liveried Caprillo back on the grid. Quite a few of these cars representatives of one-make championships, the Rover 220 Turbo being one. You've got the pink Renault 5 Turbo there of Oliver Davis, which came out of the Renault 5 GT Cup. That was a very, very good championship in the mid-1980s. Jonathan Palmer having won the first race for those cars when he drove the guest car at Thruxton for the first race. But 86, 87, 88 were, I think, the best years of Renault 5 Turbo racing. Some tremendous grids, very, very good racing it delivered. The Honda CRX of Gareth Broadbent, another car that had its own one-make series that Patrick Watts, amongst others, had great success in and was a champion. And a number of the cars in Class F here, because the classes are based on engine size other than Class F, they are from the Gaz Shocks Production BMW Championship. That's another series that delivers full grids and very close racing. Right, 20 minutes then are ahead of us for the first of two Toyo Tyres Racing Saloons races. They qualified yesterday. They've been kicking their heels a bit today, but they get their two races in pretty quick succession. And the way that they've lined up at the front of the grid, the two BMWs, allow Stacey Vickers, getting rather hot in the Mazda because he's got his door wide open again, and Wayne Howlett a chance possibly to squeeze between the two. So get your I Spy book of cars at the ready, because there's one of just about everything out there from different manufacturers. The Renault 5 Turbo being coaxed up onto its correct grid position. Richard Ibrahim will line up alongside in the Alpha 33. Ken Lark's Vento, I should say, the ex-William Black Volkswagen Racing Cup Championship winning car slots into place now near the back of the grid. The green flag is waved then, so 20 minutes for the Toyo Tyres Racing Saloons about to get underway, because in a moment the lights will go red. When they do so, engine notes will rise, and then when the lights go out, the race will be underway any second. Now, who makes the best start? It's not Stacey Vickers, who goes nowhere in the Mazda, and is everybody going to miss him? Because so far so good. Renault dodges round, BMW dodges, Golf dodges round. Everybody, thankfully, has missed the Mazda. That is only round applause as well. So those that did get off the line make their way now down through Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. It's Andrew Busby from the outside of row one that has made the best start. He leads the way. John Wilcox is second, and then Colin Tester, the local hero in the Black Sierra, trying to go around the outside of him there as they turn out of Druids now down towards Graham Hill Bend for the first time. Stacey Vickers gets going, but a long, long way back as he turns into Paddock Hill Bend. Out of Graham Hill Bend, though, come the leaders, and you've got number 10 there, which is Roger Kneebone in the M5 BMW looking to gain ground, and Ken Lark in the Vento really hurling the car around. Now that is another one-make championship type car, because the Vento Challenge began in the 1994 season. It's a car from that, but Ken being held up there by BMWs as he goes towards Surtees. Gets through the traffic now, as at the end of lap number one, then up towards the line. It's Andrew Busby in the lead of the race. In second place, coming past the finish, is John Wilcox. Then third is Colin Tester. In fourth in the BMW M5 there is Roger Kneebone. In fifth is Wayne Howlett. Dean Spur is sixth. In seventh place, going past the pits now, is Rob Sadler. In eighth place, it's number 108, Peter Selden. And then in ninth, you've got 126, Sam Clark, who I still think is going to be a man to watch as this race wears on. In 10th place is John Payne with the Chrysler Sunbeam going out of Druids now. But the two leading BMWs then head towards Graham Hill Bend. Not really seen a lot of Andrew Busby in the championship, or in the series, I should say, this year. But he's making his presence felt now, because he leads with John Wilcox second.
Stacey Vickers, I was standing in the pit lane just opposite where his car was. I thought any moment we're going to have a Golf or something land in the pit lane, because it was a phenomenal. You saw it from your vantage point up in the tower, but he's absolutely got that. It was just a little stuck starter motor, I think. The starter just wouldn't turn the engine over, but once he'd installed it. But now he's absolutely flying. Where's he going to finish? In the top three, do you reckon?
Top six, I would go for.
Certainly, flying.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, it was a remarkable avoidance by everybody. As you were saying that, we just had a replay on Fan TV seeing how close cars had come. Right, so at the end of the opening lap, Stacey Vickers went through in 28th place, and let's see what further progress can be made from there. We seem to have lost John Payne into the pits, which is now when you're going to tell me whether it's a Talbot or a Chrysler Sunbeam. But it was in the pits yesterday, went to the paddock, and it's coming towards you now.
That's why he's come into the pits, so I can tell you that the badge on the front is a Lotus badge. Right. And I don't see any other evidence of any kind of identification on it, David. I'm sorry.
Right, let's make it a Talbot Sunbeam Lotus then.
Well, I'm just walking towards it, but okay. What it could be a Chrysler or a Talbot, can it?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll carry on with the race, David. I'll get back to you at this important point, because the car is a retirement. I'll find out in a moment.
Okay.
Back to you in a moment.
Right, leaders then with a new order, because as you were talking for the pits, John Wilcox has found a way through. He heads the way, and he's coming now through Clark Curve. So the redoubtable John Wilcox leads the way. Really wide line out of Clark Curve there. So does it work for him? I think he does. He's pulling clear of Andrew Busby now. And then in third place, Roger Kneebone here. I think possibly if he can get close enough now, Kneebone might try and elbow his way up a place as they go towards Druids. In fourth place, you've got Wayne Howland. Then Colin Tester is fifth. Dean Spur is, dare one suggest, being spurred on by the BMWs behind him, of Rob Sadler and then Peter Selden. Peter, another experienced BMW racer. Right, here comes Stacey Vickers then, who heads his flock over the line. Stacey was 28th, he's now 19th, really carving his way through the traffic. The next target is going to be Ken Lark's Vento.
When you're ready, David, have you got a moment or three?
Please.
Right, OK, it is, although he's got a Talbot patch on his overalls, it is a Chrysler. It's a very early Chrysler, he says.
Right.
Point one. Point two is the big end he thinks he's got.
Oh dear.
He reckons it's about a 1977 car. How much more information do you want? Is that enough?
No, keep going.
Well, when I saw Talbot on his on the patch on it, I thought that definitely means it's a Talbot. But no, it's a Chrysler. OK, and I hope you've all written that down for future reference.
But if the big end has gone, is that the end of him for race 2 as well? One would fear so.
Well, yes, I don't think there's going to be time to replace the big end before the next race.
Now, Sam Clark is going great guns here with the XJS, trying to find a way there past the Peter Selden BMW, going into Paddock. That didn't quite pay off. Don Hughes Golf scuttling along behind him. Leaders are heading down towards Graham Hill Bend. We've got still 15 3/4 minutes of the race to go. And now that he's hit the front, John Wilcox looking pretty strong here. As in second place, you've got the Andrew Busby M3. Roger Kneebone is dropping back a little bit into the clutches almost of Wayne Howland. It's BMW's first to fourth, fifth is Ford of Colin Tester, then the Rover sixth in the hands now of Dean Spur, and in a straight line Sam Clark in the XJS there getting on the inside line, but he has to brake so much earlier for Surtees than the BMW does there in the hands of Rob Sadler, so I didn't quite pay off for him. So coming through the corner, the XJS now is being challenged by this rather impudent Volkswagen Golf GTI Mark 1 of Don Hughes, which comes up out of Clark Curve. As I said before the race started, it's a quick car that in Don's hands. Over the line now, this battle between Peter Selden and Rob Sadler goes through. Sam Clark thinks about the inside and then has to throw the anchor out much earlier for Paddock. So the car slows, the BMs pull away, the Golf gets almost into the boot of the Jaguar there, going through the corner. The BMWs, side by side, they're heading up the hill between Peter Selden and Rob Sadler, and on the inside line I think Rob's just going to keep the place, whereas the leader John Wilcox now is getting further and further away. Andrew Busby is a bit safer in second than he was. Roger Kneebone is third, and down to Graham Hill Bend comes this great scrap. Peter Selden staying ahead, but he runs wide there, goes onto the dirt coming out of Graham Hill Bend. Sadler is next, then Sam Clark tries to get the power of the Jaguar to come to him. Yes, he's gained a place on the inside going into Surtees, and that time around he makes the car just wide enough to fend off the BMW of Rob Sadler. Don Hughes tries to join in as well. He has a look on the outside going up towards McLaren. It doesn't pay off for him, I'm afraid, and there's a good little battle lower down, isn't there, between the front-wheel drive Toyota Corolla, shades of Phil Dowsett in the British Touring Car Championship there, and Oliver Davis in the rather startling pink Renault 5 Turbo that's having a look on the inside going up now towards Surtees and up towards McLaren. These two are at the moment fighting over 18th and 19th places. Through they go up to the end of the lap in a moment, with Ken Lark in the Vento chasing after them. How's Stacey Vickers doing? Well, he's up to 15th place now. We're estimating a top 6 for him, and he's now 14th going into Paddock. Next target is Tom Murphy's Sierra Cosworth. Trouble is, it's all getting a bit more stretched out ahead of him. Yes, he's got 13 minutes still to go, but it's not getting much easier for him further up the road. Ahead of the Ken Lark Vento is this battle between Oliver Davis and number 106 there, which is the Toyota Corolla in the hands of James Carpenter, turning its way up towards the hairpin, but the leaders go through 9/10 of a second between them. That time the gap was down just fractionally as John Wilcox started to lose a little bit of ground to Andrew Busby. In third place, Roger Kneebone, who is 8/10 of a second back now, so 1.7 comes the top 3 cars. Ken Lark there, going up to Surtees, making his move on the Renault 5 of Oliver Davis, but is there room enough for him on the inside? Yes, the Vento goes through. Ken normally to be found in his Corrado, but making the Vento go pretty well here now, so he split that little battle for the moment between Carpenter and Davis, and oh dear, the Renault is heading for the pit lane, and I had a horrible feeling that the Alfa Romeo 33 was heading for the pits, but it didn't. It just had a rather wayward line there. The two leaders, however, are tied together. Coming up towards McLaren, John Wilcox is ahead of Andrew Busby. So the two leading M3s turn their way for the corner. The all-white one is Wilcox, the one in the BMW Motorsport livery. the recreation, is that of Andrew Busby, who comes across the line. Headlights on now, and looking very menacing in third as well is Roger Nebo in the M5 as they go past the pits. So Busby led early on, and with 12 more minutes of the race to go, he's coming back now at the leading car. In fourth place, it's Colin Tester, Sierra Cosworth that's losing touch a little bit. In fifth place now fourth is Wayne Howlett, I should say. Fifth is Colin Tester's Sierra, coming down to Graham Hill Bend in a moment, and Wayne Howlett falling off the back of that little group ahead as the traffic now becomes more of a factor for the leaders. Ian.
Oliver Davies has driven straight through the pits. I think he's going back to the paddock to see presumably whether he can fix the car for the next race.
Okay, as Stacey Vickers has gained another place going into paddock. He's 11th now. Top 6, we reckon. Still possible, but it's not going to be easy. John Wilcox working his way through the slower cars. 72 Stephen Carter there being overtaken as he turns his way up through Clark Curve, and this lap has really gone Wilcox's way, bearing in mind that Andrew Busby was on his tail at the start of the lap. Now it's a big gap between the top two as they head over the line. In third position is still Roger Nebo. Wayne Howlett is almost with him now. He's coming back at him in the newer shape BMW M3. Colin Tester in the Sierra Cosworth goes by. Another car in a comparable was the M3 BMW, because that also came into production saloon and international touring car racing in 1987. And then behind them in sixth place is 108 Peter Selden, seventh is number 126 Sam Clark, and coming out of Druids now at Roger Nebo, working his way through the traffic. Wayne Howlett almost there with him. Down through Graham Hill Bend they come. Roger Nebo goes wide, the wrong side of the curve, bounces over the grass creek, back onto the circuit, and two of the production BMWs have got themselves together there, because Richard Thomas and Stephen Carter, side by side, going up towards Surtees, and through on the inside goes Carter, so he gains a place there. Meantime, as the leaders have gone by, the gap last time was over a second between the top two. This time in the traffic, John Wilcox, I think, has made a better fist of it. Yes, he has, so he's managed to extend the gap just a little bit more coming through now. So over the line goes John Wilcox. In second place, it is Andrew Busby. Roger Nebo there third. What about Wayne Howlett's chances? The traffic certainly is influencing things to an extent. He's lost a little bit of ground that time. And the next car through is Colin Tester, number 120, working his way through the production BMWs. They're rather busy having their own battle. Stacey Vickers is the next one to keep an eye on, who should be through in a moment. Now, Stacey Vickers is 11th, but the top 10 is a long way up the road. So I think maybe the top 6 is being a bit optimistic for him, unless there's a safety car, which is always possible. But Stacey Vickers now has got to make up an enormous chunk of time, which may be possible before the end. We've still got just under 10 minutes of the race to go, but as I say, it's not going to be easy. The gap here between Sadler and Vickers is 9 seconds, but Stacey is lapping over a second a lap quicker, so he's got 9 seconds in 9 minutes. It is just about doable before the very end. Alfa Romeo update is that the 33 is in 18th place overall, metronomically soldiering on, as you would expect. The gap between the leaders is down to 0.8 of a second now, and Wayne Howlett, having done the absolute best of anybody in the race in Sector 1, is a bit nearer to the back now of the Roger Nebo M5 that gets sideways and goes into the gravel at the bottom of Paddock Hill, and he's going to come out the other side because he had the momentum. Although it's a heavy car, the M5, he's managed to dig his way through the gravel bed. Now, he has lost one place to Wayne Howlett. Is he going to lose another here to Roger Nebo, to Colin Tester, I should say? Roger Nebo then in fourth. Colin Tester is not going to get near enough, so that place won't change. How's Sam Clark getting on in the XJS? Still in 7th position with Dean Spur's Rover, and then Don Hughes in the Golf tucked up behind him. Dean Spur runs a bit wide there, coming out of Druids. And Sam Clark in a very smart XJS, for the moment, is hanging on to 7th position. The race leaders are coming up towards the end now of lap number 12. With 8 3/4 minutes still to go. Past the pits now goes John Wilcox, who will lap the Alfa Romeo 33, so I would imagine this lap will be a bit slower as he just backs off to admire it as he goes past, thinking he should have bought one of those. Andrew Busby is in second place as he goes up towards Druids, and then a rather distant third, Wayne Howlett, but he has gained that place courtesy of the little error that was evinced by Roger Nebo when he went through the gravel at the start of the lap. Sam Clark 7th now, as he's made his way past the pits, and he's not lapping any quicker than those ahead of him, so I don't think he's going to be able to gain any more ground out of this. Stacey Vickers going through in 11th place. Now that time he took 2 seconds out of Rob Sadler's advantage, so that sort of pace is a lot more encouraging for the Mazda RX-7 as he goes up now to Druids, and a very sideways Sam Clark there in the XJS, having to really fight the car coming out of the hairpin. He managed to hang on to a very lurid slide, but he's got Dean Spur in the Rover now right up behind him, and then Don Hughes in the Golf has caught back up as well, so Sam Clark very nearly dropped it all there when he came out of Druids, heading up now towards Surtees. Of course, in a straight line, there are many straights here. He has got the pace to try to pull clear once again. Up now towards McLaren he goes. Dean Spur having a look up on the inside there, but couldn't really get his nose alongside to have a serious go coming into Clark Curve. We've got 7.5 more minutes of the race to run. The gap between the leaders is 0.8 of a second, and at the moment the race leader is about to come down to Graham Hill Bend with a bit more traffic ahead over the next few corners. So Wilcox leads Busby, then a big gap back to Wayne Howlett in third place. The Kenlark Vento, starting way back on the grid, has now been lapped. That car, for some reason, it's being timed. For whatever reason, it's being shown as 6 laps adrift, which I find rather hard to believe. But anyway, it is still circulating, and it should be making progress rather than being shown 6 laps behind. So I think it's a glitch in the timing system somewhere for that car, probably with its transponder not functioning properly. As the leaders now make their way up towards the end of lap number 14 now. 0.8 of a second it was between Wilcox and Busby last time. Looks less this time, but no, he's only up by 1/10 of a second in Wilcox's favour. 0.9 it is. Wayne Howlett's a bit lonely in his third place now. He's not going to catch nor be caught, I don't think. Kenlark has gone through. Again, the car not being registered on the screen, so where it really is, who knows in classification terms now. Andrew Busby out of Druids then, the BMW M3s still first and second, the original shape of M3, and now John Wilcox just having to sort his way past Dean Keeble's 318 IS that runs wide there, coming out of Graham Hill Bend, bounces over the curbs. A consequence of which is that the top 2 cars get past. John Wilcox has another BMW to try to negotiate. He's being held up a little bit now there by James Law in the green BM, so as soon as he can dispense with that, he can try to accelerate again. Wilcox has to go around the outside there, coming into Clark Curve, and Andrew Busby follows suit then, so the 2 race leaders come through still pretty much tied together. 0.9 of a second was the gap. Is it going to be less? It probably will be this time, given the way the traffic has influenced things. Yes, it's come down to 0.4 of a second now, heading in towards Paddock Hill Bend. In third place, Wayne Howlett through in his M3. Now there goes Kenlark, who in real terms is chasing after 106. I reckon he's really 18th, Kenlark, behind James Carpenter's Toyota, but for whatever reason the timing system has failed to notice the Vento, but he's definitely still there, so he's not 6 laps adrift. He's still going strong. The leaders are into Graham Hill Bend now. John Wilcox looking a little bit ragged there as he carried a bit too much speed into the corner, gets away with it, but Andrew Busby in that first sector has pulled back 1/10 of a second and may well be even closer in the second sector now as he heads now into McLaren, out of which there will be ahead David Ball's Gulf Livered orange over blue Jaguar XJS. So as the leaders now accelerate their way towards the end of lap number 16, we've got 5 more minutes to go. Wayne Howlett having to work his way through traffic as well. No matter what Andrew Busby does, you still get the feeling that John Wilcox is in charge here. John, very experienced BMW racer, heading now up to Paddock, turning his way to the corner every time Busby gets closer, so John is just going to range clear once more. And as the race leaders have, as I say, now done 16 laps, 4 3/4 minutes of the race remain. Stacey Vickers' progress in the 11th placed Mazda. He was on the tail of Rob Sadler at the start of the lap, and I think he's going to be ahead of him this time. Yes, he is, so that puts Stacey Vickers, number 35 in the Mazda, the orange RX-7 that goes through now up into the top 10. The next target is Don Hughes in the white and yellow Mark 1 Golf. And given the way that Stacey qualified, he should be able, as soon as he gets onto the tail of the Golf, to work his way through. So the top 6 might be out of the question. Top 7 or top 8 should be possible. Andrew Busby coming out of Clark Curve, working his way past Lawrence Ball's XJS, in fact that is, as he comes through now, making his way up past the pits. And then the next pair of cars behind are going to be those of Wayne Howlett and Roger Nebo. Through goes the leading pair, 11/10 now between the 2 BMWs. A bit frustrating this for Andrew Busby. Close, but not close enough at any point, really, since he lost the race lead. Third still is Wayne Howlett. Roger Nebo having faded away in 4th after his trip through the gravel. Colin Tester 5th in the Sierra, and lapping a little quicker as well. He's taken 3/10 out of the margin there, so that's a gap that's coming down. The next car through of note is going to be for 7th place Peter Selden, 8th is Sam Clark, up into 9th now has gone Stacey Vickers, so 2 picked off in a lap there by the RX-7, and the Jaguar is going to be easy prey, I would have thought, to Stacey, who carries the momentum now going up to the hairpin at Druids. He's going to look for the inside line there, but it's a big car, the Jaguar XJS, and it's pretty well driven in Sam Clark's hands, so he's not going to find a way through on the inside line going into the hairpin. This is for 8th place now, and again Sam Clark really sideways coming out of the hairpin. He manages just to consolidate the line into Graham Hill Bend, so that traps the Mazda behind it for a moment. So Jaguar versus Mazda. There's a big TWR link here, Tom Walkinshaw having championed both of those cars in touring car racing, but the XJS keeps the RX-7 at bay, and we're getting a driving standards flag for somebody, the number of whom we're not being told about. Across the line have gone now the race leaders, with a second between Wilcox and Busby, and the sideways Sam Clark is coming coming now up towards the end of the lap. Stacey Vickers is on his tail, having a look on the outside line as they come from the corner. Is he going to be able to get the run coming up past the pits? No, he's not. So over the line, Sam Clark goes through again on the power part of the circuit. That car just able to extend its advantage, but Stacey Vickers brakes very, very late going into paddock there. Almost got alongside the Jaguar. That didn't quite pay off for him, so his next opportunity will be at Druids, where he tries the outside line. He's going to get alongside. Can he drive all the way around the outside of the Jaguar? He's going to run out the road sooner or later. Stacey Vickers slots back in. No, he doesn't. He stays alongside, even on the grass there. And downhill they come, almost side by side. Stacey Vickers has the inside for Graham Hill Bend. He's all locked up. He's still alongside Sam Clark's Jaguar. And Sam Clark, for the moment, just stays ahead.
And it's Roger Kneebone, number 10, who was getting the driving standards flag.
Right, OK, the man in, at the moment, 4th place. Now, Stacey Vickers, as they've gone up towards McLaren, he's having another go on the inside of the Jaguar. This time it's going to work, is it? Sam Clark tries to squeeze him out, but no, Stacey Vickers on the inside line has made this one stick. So, from being last away after the car got bogged down on the grid, Stacey Vickers now, number 35, is up into 8th place. Is he going to be able to go any better than that? Although Sam Clark, to be fair, is fighting back as they come across the line, up now towards paddock, but because he has to brake so much earlier, given the weight of that car and the big engine that he has, so Stacey Vickers better under braking, able to pull away a little bit further now in 8th place. 9th is Clark, 10th is Spur. Now, Stacey Vickers has got to make up 13 seconds against the next target of Dean Keeble, which I don't think is going to happen for him. But it's been a good effort, this, by Sam Clark and by Stacey Vickers in that battle. So down through Graham Hill Bend now comes Stacey Vickers. The race leaders, though, are together as they head up towards paddock this time. John Wilcox has got Andrew Busby right on his tail, and the gap was only a 10th of a second. We've had Ian Clark